So it's time for another gimbal tutorial. We're out here in the forest and it's super cold out here, but that shouldn't stop us from making a video, right? Ooh, my hands are freaking cold. Now, I know some of you guys might feel overwhelmed if you're new to creating a smooth gimbal shots with your iPhone, but hey, don't worry, in this video, I'll share some simple techniques and tips to help you capture professional shots that will make your video stand out. But yeah, creating these gimbal shots isn't always easy and does require physical effort, but hey, it's a great way to exercise as well, right? Now, just because you own a gimbal doesn't mean you get automatically smooth cinematic shots. It does take practice to master the art of gimbal movements. Now, before we move on, I want to thank Motionary for sponsoring this video and supporting this channel. More to them later. Now, you might be thinking, which gimbal should I use? Well, I've tried different mobile gimbals along the way, and I can say most of them perform well in stabilizing the footage. The competition is more about the additional features nowadays. There's no such thing as a perfect mobile gimbal, as each has its advantage and disadvantages. I prefer more a compact gimbal like this one. This is the Insta360 Flow that I'll be using in this video. It allows me to capture shots quickly without wasting time on setup and fits easily in my pocket. However, one disadvantage of a more compact mobile gimbal like this one is the limited range of motion, which may impact certain type of shots that are easier to achieve with a larger mobile gimbal, such as the Zion Smooth 5S. However, I don't see this as a big issue. I believe these shots can still be done effectively with the proper technique. So as for the camera settings, I'll be using the default camera app. I'll be shooting on the iPhone 15 Pro Max, and the resolution I will be shooting in is 4K 25 frames per second. The reason why I'll be shooting in 25 frames per second is because it's quite cloudy today and there's not much light coming in. So by using 25 frames per second, I can let more light in and therefore have a better image quality. And I also don't plan on slowing down the footage. Most importantly is to also set and lock your focus whenever you can to prevent exposure changes during your recordings. Now, to lock the focus and exposure, I simply tap hold on the screen, preferably on the subject's face, until AE/AF lock appears. This prevents the exposure from changing during your recording. So this is really important. And I'll also be experimenting with different focal lengths. So I have the ultra wide, wide, telephoto, and 5x telephoto lens. So like I said, I'll be using the Insta360 Flow. Now, when it comes to operating with your gimbal, this applies to any gimbal you use, is to balance it correctly. Now, I won't go over the whole process of how I balance the Insta360 Flow, because when your phone is balanced properly on your gimbal, the gimbal will operate properly and will also not drain as much battery. Secondly, when you do your gimbal shots, it's a good idea to use both of your hands to operate the gimbal. So this way you have more stability and have better control over your camera movements. The third important thing is to walk heel to toe as if you would be holding a hot cup of tea. So I usually get on my knees. Get on your knees. God. So usually I bend my knees a little bit and then slowly walk forward while keeping the gimbal close to my body. I walk heel to toe in a steady pace, and this will give me the optimal results. And this also prevents these up and down movements that you don't want in your shots. Otherwise, the audience will feel seasick. So keep that in mind, and let's now move on to the gimbal shots. So first up is the reveal shot, which we can use at the beginning of the video to introduce the location and the character. Now, I'm going to extend the gimbal and start at a high angled position. I'm also going to include the foreground and use this to create our revealing shot. Then I just press the trigger button to lock the gimbal so the camera keeps pointing in the same direction while I lower the gimbal sideways as the subject walks. Next up is the follow shot. I'm gonna set the gimbal mode to auto or pan tilt follow and follow the subject from behind, making sure the distance between me and the subject remains consistent. Also be sure to keep the subject centered in the frame and remember to move at a steady pace. It's also good to experiment with different focal lengths and angles. Nothing is written in stone. In this case, I went for a wider focal length and angled the camera a bit lower. And I find this shot great for making the audience feel involved in the action and also helps showcase the subject's surroundings and where they're possibly heading. Next is the reverse follow shot. This is similar to the follow-up shot, but this time I'm going to follow the subject from the front. I'm going to choose a different perspective and have the camera closer to the subject while moving backwards. Having the camera camera closer to the subject this time helps create a more intimate feel. Now, while we're at it, let's try a different perspective by capturing a low shot. I'll extend the gimbal and position the camera upside down as close to the ground as possible. By introducing foreground, midground, and background, I can add more depth into the image, making it look more three-dimensional. Now, as I walk backwards, I'm going to walk in a steady motion, keeping the camera centered as possible. Now, normally this would be harder to achieve when shooting handheld, but with the extension pole, I can be more creative and achieve a unique perspective. You can also mix things up and create a jib shot by moving the camera up to reveal the character. All right, so let's talk about the side shot where I follow the subject from the side. To get the best results, position your camera sideways and hold the trigger button to lock the gimbal. It'll make it easier to walk and keep the subject centered in the frame and achieve also steadier results. Now, if you want to make the shot more dynamic, you can use the zoom, lock focus and exposure and position yourself behind the trees to walk along the subject. The trees passing by the subject add more depth and drama to the scene. Now, before we continue with the gimbal moves, let's take a moment to talk about our sponsor of today's video, Motionary. Motionary provides a wide range of assets, tools, and resources all in one place. And even this awesome snow overlay comes from Motionary. You have easy access to everything you need, and you can download as many assets as you like. Whether you're editing in Final Cut Pro, DaVinci Resolve, or Premiere Pro, Motionary has you covered. Now, for the gimbal shots I made, I'm also going to add a snow overlay. Again, I can select Final Cut Pro and search for snow. I quickly found the realistic snow effect that comes with various animations that work great for this type of video. Now, once downloaded, I simply import and choose the desired overlay, then drag and drop it into the project. Adjust the blend mode and opacity, and we get something like this. The difference is very noticeable and it looks so much better. As you can see, Motionary is a great platform for any video creator looking to enhance their videos with professional and unique assets. And the best part is it's not just limited to titles and overlays. Motionary also offers a wide range of transitions, sound effects, music tracks, and much more. I highly recommend giving it a try to explore Motionary's extensive collection of creative assets. Plus, if you use the link in the video description below, you get $50 off the annual plan. All right, let's change things up a bit and add a cool transition to our shot. This time I'll create a fade-in effect by walking towards the subject and completely covering the lens with his jacket so that we have a black frame. In the second shot, I will start behind the subject with the lens covered and walk away as the subject moves forward to reveal the new spot. When I cut the clips together, we get a simple yet seamless transition. For the next shot, I'm going to create a focus reveal shot where the subject starts blurry and then gradually comes into focus as I get closer to the subject. First, I'll position the camera where I want the subject to be in focus and then lock the focus and exposure. Then I start a bit further away, angle the camera slightly lower and push forward to reveal the subject as he looks at the lake. Now, as for the last shot, I'm going to create a fake drone shot. I'm going to use the built-in extension pole and then slowly move away from the subject while slowly lifting the camera up. So now that we have all of the shots, let's put them together along with the behind the scenes footage to create the final edit. Alright guys, I hope you found some ideas for cinematic shots you can create using a gimbal and your smartphone. Now, if you're wondering what LUTs I use, they are from my premium mobile LUTs where you get 10 creative LUTs that you can instantly apply to your footage. If you want to learn more, visit smartphonefilmmaking.com, my online course that teaches you everything you need to know to produce quality content with your phone. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. Thanks for watching and see you the next time.